Selling cheap is probably one of the biggest mistakes of every new business owner. Do you know that in 2025, over 100,000 different jobs completely shut down due to the AI? And I'm not talking about people getting fired. I'm talking about actual businesses shut down because the product or service is no longer in demand. No one is calling placing orders because the AI is getting the job done faster and cheaper. What are these businesses? Well, as you may have guessed, we're talking about graphic design, we're talking about video production, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about advertisements, we're talking about AI video generation replaced all the production lines. You no longer need an actual physical influencers to hold or promote your product. You no longer need somebody to draft a logo or create a special ad or commercial for your product or service. You no longer need anyone to actually come over and create a special strategy, run ads, create retargeting, collect keywords, run different numbers, trying to look at the competitors. No, you can do all this using AI. So if no one actually placing order to your company, well, effectively you're out of business, right? Think about everyone who starts the business for the first time. They all do the same thing. They think that everyone could be their client. They want to reach everyone. They want to sell to everyone, and they want to sell cheap, right? Why the mindset of every new business owner is the same? Why 90% of these people fail? The main question is, which are the next businesses on the line this year that will most likely file for bankruptcy and completely disappear? Look, we're not just talking about the weakest players of the industry. We're talking about every player in the industry essentially is closing over 100,000 in some of these particular niches in 2025 because the niche is kind of disappearing, right? It's in a way in which we had the cars replacing the carriages, right? Completely erased anyone involved in carriages. In production of carriages in the business, completely plummet. Then we have the internet came in, completely erased all the radio and other stuff, sources of information. Then we got the TV, then we got the phone, etc. Right? This is how when something completely new comes around or comes along, it's not just taking all the weak hands and the weak business providers off the market. It takes the whole niche off the market, creates a completely new niche where it either going to be a couple of new services merged together offered as one service, which could be now, let's say you have or you run an AI agency, you can offer video production, you can create a content marketing, you can create a advertisement campaign, you can create the full blown house where people can order absolutely everything for promotion and design of their personal brand and their products and services that they're offering. It no longer has to go to 5 different companies to get job done. The second option, if that's not going to happen, it will be extremely niched and specialized firms. Let's say somebody has a video generation tool that they built for themselves in-house, and this video generation tool it's trained on data only on sport ads from the past. So basically there is a special niche down agency that only produces commercials, ads and marketing campaigns for only sporting goods or sport drinks or anything related to sport. This is very helpful because having your own personal chatbot trained on your own personal data, it gives you precise outputs, which, as you know, the better the outputs, the better the prompts. First of all, is more cost efficient because you will use less tokens, which basically means that you have higher profit margin because everything that remains will be simply profit from you from the actual generation cost. These are the two parallels I see that will come on the surface. And if you look like honestly, who else most likely going to be replaced? Of course, will be content writing. Everyone who previously was ordered to write articles, maybe the people who are publishing these articles or putting the articles on the actual media. Let's say I want to have a front page of my business on Wall Street Journal. I no longer have to pay whatever amount it is for someone to write the article for me and then pay additional fee for the distribution. I may as well just pay somebody else, third party, completely summarized, very focused and niche down AI tool that has been fed the training data from the most successful engaging articles. So when you have, like I said, a personalized tool that is trained on the data that is very niched and the data that is only outperform all the metrics, you have essentially a very successful and highly objective product, which means that there's a very small chance for a flop on the particular output. This is what I see. If you want to go and try to replicate this, you need to start uh, training your own models. You need to have separate accounts in different AI tools, and you have to start specializing them in particular niche. Let's say you have a tool only for medical thematic questions, content. Could be blog post. It could be a site for some home remedies. You can have another tool that is only for like home workout or something. The idea is that you don't want to mix up. Today everyone is mixed up. All the questions, all the information, different inputs, different outputs. So your own personal chatbot has no core value attached to it because it has many parts of information, questions and answers, but essentially has no real deep understanding of any of it. Do you know that every single day, 2,500 different businesses file for bankruptcy in the United States? And another 2,000 are started. Before the virus situation, every single year they had over 900,000 businesses simply file for bankruptcy. And in 2025, majority of the businesses which were closing were retail locations, and the number jumped from 2,500 a day to 15,000 a day. This is why selling cheap, and this is why doing business is noob as a brand new business owner. Following the old way of doing business, it's usually not gonna get you successful. It will not differentiate your business or your product. Selling cheap creates this idea that everyone could be your client. But if everyone is your client, you don't really have the actual clientele profile. You know exactly niche down who is your client, how much money they're making, where they're living, what kind of brands they're wearing, right? It's like you trying to sell a person who is buying Loro Piana a Zara jacket. Do you understand how ridiculous this will look like? The person will not going to be even interested. Or you're trying to sell a person who only drives a European cars, Mercedes, BMW, Audis. You try to sell this person, let's say, a Honda Civic or Subaru, right? It's simply not gonna get the deal done. This is why you wanna niche down the profile of your clients. Reverse engineering. You're not starting from the business, product, or service, or starting with the clients. Who you can actually serve the best, who you know the best. Let's say I work on Wall Street for 6 years. I know Wall Street communities, people, employees, different levels, hierarchy. I know exactly who is wearing what, representing what kind of jewelries, what kind of rings, what kind of watches, what kind of suits. I know absolutely everything, what kind of shoes, every single item that these people are wearing or possess represents something. This is why your biggest leverage in the competitive market that is pretty saturated, it's always to first of all niche down, know exactly who is your client, who you're talking to. This will help you to know how to price your items. This will help you to craft and design the product or services. This will help you to create a very effective marketing campaign. You know exactly who to hire to promote your product or service. If you hire some bimbo to promote my jackets and suits to the Wall Street guys, nobody will care. No one take her serious. It's a wild west out there. You're going to hire somebody that looks like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. You're gonna dress him and you're gonna make him speak like him because he speaks their language, right? You want to buy something from someone that looks like you, sounds like you, works jobs like yours, makes probably your money, right? It's always actually a little bit better if you can find someone that is the next level. Because if somebody from the next level sells something to the people in the level below, the people will be much more incentivized to buy from him because psychologically they believe that if they look like him, they're gonna be him, right? Let's say I work on Wall Street for 6 years. I know Wall Street communities, people, employees, different levels, hierarchy. I know exactly who is wearing what, representing what kind of jewelries, what kind of rings, what kind of watches, what kind of suits. I know absolutely everything, what kind of shoes, every single item that these people are wearing or possess represents something. So if tomorrow I said, okay, I'm gonna go into the commodity market, I'm gonna build a fashion brand or accessory brand only for men that are working on Wall Street. I know exactly who to target, how to target. I know exactly how much I should charge them. And I know that I should charge them a lot. I'm not gonna charge them cheap. I'm not gonna charge them $100 for a button-down shirt. I'm not gonna charge them four or $500 for a suit. Why? Because when they pay more money, they feel that they're getting something unique. This will give them personal satisfaction and will give them more motivation and will make them even more arrogant over the other people on Wall Street because they can have what they own. Understand? The diversification of different pricing, different items, having everything that is specifically, uniquely satisfying particular person is what makes you different. This is why I said that when you try to network or try to establish partnerships, you want to make sure you have the similar IQ level in the table. You don't want to have people who pretend to be smart, think they're smart, but they're actually very dumb and try to play the short term game, trying to scam you over. So, this is why you want to make sure that you really understand the people who you're facing in business level. You want to understand their capabilities, not only financial, we're talking about intellectual involvement, how much they were really involved in building their businesses. Did they simply bought out the business from some genius and now they pretend to be the business mind behind it? Or they really were the founder? They were there in the first early days, like the Jensen one was the first days of Nvidia. Three guys started Nvidia. If you don't know the story, they were passionate about video games. The video games back then were uh, one dimensional, and they said, how cool would it be if the games are three dimensional? And they built the special chips that allow the game to actually render in 3D. If you're able to find partners or counterparties with a similar IQ level, and if you're able to take some losses here and there for the sake of getting bigger returns further down the road and playing the long term game, you might be setting yourself for the billionaire pie someday. Not guaranteed, but if you walk or if you arrange the path in the right way, the settings could allow you to be next on the line. It's not about the money. Probably one of the biggest lies I've heard. When you go to the store and try to buy nice clothes, right? It's all about the money, right? When you go and try to, have a nice haircut, try to look nice, try to look good, it's all about the money. When you go out and try to network, try to meet new people in your business, right? End goal is still to make more money. When you go and apply for nice university, try to get a nice degree, it's all about the money. When you go out and try to get a nice girlfriend or wife, in the end of the day, it's all about the money. So it's all about money. Every time when I see someone who's trying to convince me on something, who's trying to sell me directly or indirectly on something, on his idea, product, or service, and when he's using the leverage, it's not about the money, G. This is the biggest bullshit matter, the biggest red flag that I could see. Because everything is done because of the existence or the exchange of money. People who come over here and fix my internet, right, or install my internet, or build the whole network connection with fiber cables or whatsoever, They're doing it because of the money. It's all about the money. Genuinely ask yourself a question. When was the last time when you ran out of money? When was the last time when you thought that you have to change something, right? When was the last time when you saw someone that is doing very, very well and you kind of promised to yourself that you can also do well and you're going to find a way to get things in order? When was the last time when you promised something to yourself and you didn't follow the promise? Because I see this all the time. And this is where people get things wrong. They think that it's a lack of time. I don't have time to do it. A lack of skills. I don't know how to do it. Or people say that they have lack of patience. I cannot wait to get rich. I cannot wait actually to start a business, to build, to grow, to expand, which it's all kind of fake excuses of simply not spending enough time to make the strategy that applies to your own life. Because you can always find time, because you can always get inspired by looking someone else's business. Think about a lady last year, she was selling air in cans. You open a can, like a small, soda can, and there is nothing inside. She made millions selling nothing. There was a guy 4 years ago. He was selling on iTunes 3 minutes and 50 seconds a song that was nothing on it. You listen, empty sound. It was something like calmness, named calmness, and you play it and it's nothing. You have to pay for it like $8, $7.99, something like this, and people bought it. The guy made millions. If this examples doesn't give you the wake up call that anything could be bought and sold, if it's an original idea, and if you find early adopters, which is two key concepts, very simple. If you break down what the business is, first of all, original idea, something that you sit for the first time, you're kind of curious, it's kind of cool. It's not your thing, but you're very, very interested to see how it works or how it feels or how it tastes if it's a food. So you spend money. This is how all the garbage sold on TikTok works.